Hey there, welcome back to the Ingrain Workshop. In today's video, we're going to be replacing the submersible pump in our decorative 4-tier water fountain. So let's get started. The pump that we're going to be using is a Smart Pond fountain pump. It's rated at 300 to 500 gallons per hour. It also comes with 3 different hose connections. You can connect up to a 1/2 inch, 5/8 inch, and 3/4 inch tubing. And it also comes with a 16-foot electrical cord. And then it's rated for fountains that have a height up to 7 feet. I think at 7 feet it runs at 100 gallons per hour. At 5 feet it runs at 235 gallons per hour. And then at 1 foot it runs at 470 gallons per hour. And then at just ground level it runs at 525 gallons per hour. So this is the Smart Pond fountain pump that we're going to be installing. Our fountain is approximately 6 feet tall. It's a 4-tier decorative fountain, so this pump should be adequate enough to pump the water all the way up the pedestal of the fountain, which is around 6 feet in height. The actual ideal operating range for this particular pump is between 5 and 7 feet. It is rated for large fountains, and it also has an adjustable flow control, so you can actually adjust the flow rate. I picked this up at Amazon, so I'll drop a link in the description to where you can get this exact same pump. So this is our decorative 4-tier water fountain. As you can see, we are literally dead in the water, no pun intended. So we're going to be replacing the submersible pump, which is located at the bottom of the pedestal. But before we got started, I wanted to go over the setup for this particular fountain. So in this particular fountain, we have 4 pipe connections. 3 3/4 inch pipe connections that are in the base of the basin. And then we have 1 3/4 inch water pipe connection that is actually in the pedestal, that runs directly up the center pedestal up to the pineapple at the very top, which is where the water outflows. So the 3 connections that are in the bottom of the basin consist of a 3/4 inch drain, a 3/4 inch water inlet, so we can fill the water basin up without bringing a water hose to the fountain, and then a 3/4 inch electrical conduit, which is where the electrical for the pump will run to our timer. So out of the 4 3/4 inch pipe connections here at the fountain, there are only 2 that are visible from the water basin. And these 2 consist of the 3/4 inch drain, which has a cap on it right now, and the 3/4 inch water inlet, which is what we'll use to refill the pond. But right now the first thing we have to do is drain the pond. So we're going to take the cap off of the drain, and then this 3/4 inch drain runs to a 3/4 inch drip line, which is behind our viburnum. So let me show you that. So this is the end of our drip line, and like I had mentioned, it's a 3/4 inch PVC connection at the water basin, and then it transitions to a 1/2 inch drip line, which is just a low pressure drip line. And then here at the end of the pipe, we have a coupling with a cap on the end of it, threaded cap on the end of it. We usually take and hide this line behind our viburnum shrubs, but when we drain it, we do pull it out and put it in our planter on the other side of the sidewalk, so we're not draining the fountain right up against the house. And it can also be used to water our planter here. So what I'm going to do before we do anything, I'm going to take the cap off and start the drain process. Alright, so you can see that we're draining And we're going to let that drain for probably about an hour, and then I'll come back and hopefully the bottom basin will be completely drained. But thanks to movie magic, it'll be instantaneous for you guys. And just like that, the fountain is drained. So the next thing I'm going to do is put the rubber washer back on the inside of the cap, and then I'm going to screw the cap back onto the threaded coupling. This will just make sure that the water doesn't leak out of the cap, and then once I get the cap secured on, I'll throw the whole hose back behind our shrubs just to keep them out of view. Okay, now that we have the basin drained out, I wanted to give you a closer look at the actual setup in the basin. This is our 3/4 inch drain pipe, and then this is our 3/4 inch water inlet. This is tied to the water faucet at the back of the door, at our back door, and I'll show you that setup once we refill the basin. But right now, I think the basin's drained out enough that we can start replacing the submersible pump. Okay, so this is the back of the pedestal, and the back of the pedestal has a cutout, and this is how we access the submersible pump. So I'm just going to remove the concrete cutout, and then that will expose our submersible pump. The submersible pump has two connections. It has a 3/4 inch connection out of the top, which allows the water to pump up the pedestal, and then it has a grate on the back of the pump, and this is where it sucks the water from the basin. And then it's got an electrical connection that runs under the water basin over to our electrical outlet. So here's a close-up of the pump, and then as you can see, there is a screw clamp that clamps the 1/2 inch hose from the fountain to the submersible pump. So I'm just going to take a flat blade screwdriver and take off that screw clamp and then unplug the electrical, and then I should be able to just take out the existing submersible pump. Okay, now with the screw clamp removed, I was able to disconnect the rubber hose that goes all the way up to the top of the pedestal. This is the water outlet, so this is where the water flows up the top of the fountain. And then you can see my electrical connection, which is, I think, a 1-inch piece of conduit that runs out of the bottom of the basin and over to our electrical outlet. So I'm going to disconnect the power and then pull the cord through. But before I do that, I have to tie a string on to the end of the cord. That way I can pull the new cord back the other way. Okay, now that we have the string pulled, I was able to totally remove the old submersible pump, And now we can get ready to install the new submersible pump. The first thing I'm going to need to do is tie off the string to the electrical cord on the new pump, and then we'll feed it back through the conduit. So let me start on that. Okay, so now that we have the new submersible pump installed in the fountain, I can start filling it back up because it is going to take a little while to fill back up. So let me show you the setup I have here at my back door where I have a water faucet. So basically I just have a Y on my water faucet. One Y goes to just a garden hose. The other Y goes to a drip pipe, which is connected to the fountain. It transitions from I believe it's a 1/2 inch drip to a 3/4 inch PVC, and then that runs up the bottom, or comes up out of the bottom of the water basin. So I'm going to go ahead and turn it on and let it start filling up the water basin. Okay, so I went ahead and turned the valve on here at the back door, and now I'm going to go over to the fountain and show you where the water actually comes up out of the bottom of the basin. Okay, so as you can probably see, the fountain is almost full. So the next thing I'm going to do is plug the electrical cord into our timer. We have our timer set up to come on at, I believe, 6 a.m. in the morning, and then it shuts off at 8 p.m. at night. So I'm going to hook that up, and that should power the pump up and start the pump and start the water fountain. Okay, so this is my timer, and I'm just going to plug the fountain into the bottom. Okay, and as you can see, we've got water flowing out of the top of the fountain, and it should just start filling up all the individual tiers and start overflowing. wrap up this video on how to install a submersible pump in a decorative 4-tiered water fountain. I hope this video helps you out in your project. If it did, please leave it a thumbs up and consider subscribing to the channel. If you have any questions about what I did, or you simply have questions about your own fountain project, leave them in the comments section below and I'll get them answered. I'll also leave a link in the video description to the pump that I used. This is Rick with the Ingrain Workshop, signing out. We'll see you next time. Thanks for watching, and please share.